right, so today we are talking about gender development. So the reason this is, guys, the reason this is part of nature versus nurture, because that's the whole theme of Module 11 and 12, nature versus nurture. The reason it's part of nature versus nurture is because gender development is partly nature, partly nurture. So obviously we have some biology involved in determining our gender, but we also have some nurture aspects involved as far as determining what exactly does it mean to be feminine or masculine. Okay, so we're going to start with start with some ideas of similarities and differences between men versus women. What you'll find is throughout the entire course, we're going to keep going back to this. I mean, we've already talked about gender differences in sexuality. We're going to talk more about gender differences as we progress. When we get to developmental, we'll talk about gender differences in, how we, how puberty affects us is different. Okay, how we age is different, and so it's. We'll continue to be talking about gender differences, but these are some of the things that I wanted to highlight here. So, first of all, agreeableness. Okay? Agreeableness, the trusting, the tender-minded. These are going to be characteristics that are much more common with women. Okay? Women are much more likely to go along with things, have that, soft heart, where you feel for people. I'm not saying that men can't do that, okay, but women score higher on this. They somewhat higher. So the women are much more likely to have this agreeableness where they will just kind of go along with things. Aggression. Who do you suppose scores higher on aggression? Men. Men do score higher on aggression, whether that be physical aggression, verbal aggression. We talked about sexual aggression. Men do score higher. Power achievement. This is interesting. Power achievement. This idea that we are trying to work towards getting more power. Now, that could be in the sense of, like, in your job, trying to be the top dog. It could be in the sense of, in a relationship, having more say over what you're doing or where you're going. And so men actually do score higher on power achievement, and they do want to have, they have more of a drive to have more power in things, whether that be their job or their relationship or whatever. But women are not too far behind them. So women also work to try and have more power in their relationships. Who do you suppose is open to feedback? Women. Women are more open to feedback. They are much more open to feedback. Although I would also say that women are also more self-critical than men. You may find women being harder on themselves as far as if they get a particular feedback, they will almost take it to the extreme where they're like, oh my gosh, I never do this right. Whereas men are going to be more, what am I going to say, they're going to shut down the feedback more often, and so they will be more thinking of the lines of, I don't do that, what are you talking about? And when I'm saying open to feedback, I'm talking about, if somebody tells you at work or at school or even in your personal relationship saying, you really need to work on this. You need to work on being a more positive person. You need to work on being on time. You need to work on, communicating better. You don't tell me when you're upset. You don't tell me when you're angry or you're frustrated or you're sad or whatever. Okay, women are more likely to be open to that. Men are more likely to shut down and say, "No, I don't do that. What are you talking about?" However, like I said, women are also the ones that are going to be more like, "Oh my gosh, I do that all the time. I'm so sorry," and trying to like overcompensate it. Men will be like, "I never do that." Women are like, "I always do that," and it's probably somewhere in the middle. Okay. All right. So that said, forming your gender. How do you form your gender? How do you form if you are male or female? Now, like I said, a lot of it is biology, but there also is some psychology to it. So first of all, nature aspects. Okay, so X and Y chromosomes obviously are the nature aspects. When that sperm and that egg came together to form you, okay, everybody has which of these? X or Y chromosomes? Everybody has which one? X. So Y chromosomes determine which gender? Male. So obviously Y chromosome you get from your mother or your father? Your father. Okay, so the Y chromosome it comes from your father. If you are a male, then you get a Y chromosome. Obviously, if you're female, you get 2 X chromosomes. I have this lovely little picture here, and it says says XYU says I can't even read that underneath. I made it too small. I don't remember what it says. It says you've got something. But the point is that that's the way it's supposed to go. Did you know that there are some people out there that have an extra chromosome where they could be an XXY or an XYY? You know that?
Yeah, what does that mean? Isn't that like Turner syndrome or something?
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's Turner syndrome where they have an extra X chromosome. Anybody ever watched that? I'm trying to think what else she's been on. That show NCIS Los Angeles. There is a short woman, and I'm trying to think of. You've seen the commercials? She's really super short. She's like 4 feet.
With like glasses and glasses.
Yes, glasses, and she has like this almost bowl cut of haircut. Yeah, I don't like her hair either. Okay, but I've seen her on other things. I'm trying to think of anything else she's been on. Do you know who I'm talking about, though? Okay, and I was going to put a picture up here on here, and I decided not to talk about all the instances of XXY, XYY, and all that other junk. But she has Turner syndrome, okay? She has Turner syndrome, which means she has an extra X chromosome. And that's part of the reason why physically, so her physical characteristics and why she is so short and things like that. So, yeah, everybody's supposed to have an X and a Y chromosome, but some people have extras. And it does change your physical attributes as well as your psychological attributes. So, what else do I want to say? Oh, this one says, gee, I've never felt a female wasn't a double, it says a double Xer, so it was talking about that women always have double X and men have X and Y. So the sex hormones actually influence the brain's wiring during prenatal development. We're going to talk about prenatal development later on, as I said, but what happens is that when the embryo is exposed to testosterone or to estrogen, more testosterone or more estrogen, it wires the brain differently, okay, during prenatal development. So that's part of the reason why a lot of the other things we're going to talk about later on, we're going to say men do this, women do that. These are the difference between them. It's because of these chromosomes, these hormones that have influenced your brain wiring when you were still in utero. Okay? So the question is, what happens when an embryo is exposed to too much of a hormone? Okay? So, for example, if it's a female baby and they're exposed to too much testosterone, because women do have testosterone, they just don't have as much as men. So, if women are exposed to more testosterone in utero, what do you suppose is going to happen? They're going to be more masculine. In some cases, they've also had cases where they've actually developed male genitalia. They act more tomboyish, and I put these in parentheses, okay, because we will talk about in a minute that's what society determines as more masculine, okay? But when your embryo is exposed to too much of a specific hormone, it will change the brain's wiring, okay? Now, the other thing is that, did you guys read in your book about, they were talking about male babies that were born with either no male genitalia or very small male genitalia. And did you read about that unfortunate case in there of that boy that was it Canada that they said that during a botched circumcision he lost his entire penis, and so the parents decided to, you guys laugh, this is not funny. They decided to raise him as a girl, so they changed because they didn't want to have him go through the embarrassment of this locker rooms and all this other stuff, and so they raised him as a girl, but he was very confused growing up, and at one point, I think it was during their puberty that they actually sat down with him and said, you're actually a boy, and
You just have nothing
Mhm.
going on there.
Yeah,
How do you pee?
they can do sex reassignment surgery.
So did they make her into a girl?
So what happens was that then they actually went and after she at the time found out, she went and got a haircut and changed her name to the guy's name and decided to live as a man. But at the same point, it had long-reaching ramifications. What happened to him? Did you finish reading that in the book? He committed suicide later on.
So sad.
Because it was so, how confusing would that be? And trying to, in your head, reassign everything that you know about yourself. And part of it wraps up with your gender and what your gender identity is. So, this is, it gets to be very serious and very confusing. And that's part of the other reason why there's transgender people out there that get very confused and very depressed because they're having to try and figure out their gender and where they fit, and sometimes it just doesn't work. Okay, so last slide that I wanted to show you.